You're tuned in to Rebooting Liberty.
Have you ever wanted to have your own radio show? Rebooting Liberty Radio Network currently has openings for live programs. For a very small fee, we will create a show intro, bumper music, and provide technical production for your hour-long show. Email producer@rebootingliberty.com for details. You can find us at live.rebootingliberty.com.
Welcome to Commonsense Coalition Talk Radio, where you'll find straight talk from people with good old common sense.
I trust your opinion.
And now, for your host, she's putting sense back into nonsense.
Absolute insanity.
Well, you can hear me on the radio. You want to turn me on, turn on your stereo. You can sing along while they're playing our song. How you done me wrong, baby, crank it up.
And now, your host, Beth Ann.
And I welcome you today to CSC Talk Radio. It's my honor, my privilege, and my pleasure to be here with you today. And I have with me today, there was a lot. First of all, I want to say I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. It was a long weekend. I had some of my family in, not all of them in, and we had a good time and ate way too much food as usual. And I hope all of you had a wonderful time as well. Now, as we were doing all this, there was things going on in the world, and we're still continuing to battle with the refugee issue. We've tried to claim state sovereignty, and the President of the United States says we can't do that. Well, I have with me today Mike Moon from the state of Missouri, and we're going to talk about what Missouri plans to do. And we'd like to hear from you in your state if you've got something going on, but we want to have state sovereignty. Mike, welcome to CSC Talk Radio.
Thank you, Beth. I appreciate you having me on today.
Well, not a problem at all. That's what I'm here for. Now, the state of Missouri has a plan, don't they? And you were one of the first ones to try and come up with a plan. Maybe I should say it that way.
We are working on a plan, Beth. I believe, as I do, I believe that there are a number of others who believe that the states are sovereign and that we can resist this relocation effort by our president. And so an effort has been started, but is nowhere near complete. And today, in fact, there is a joint committee from the House and the Senate meeting to determine what restrictions can be made or placed on our budget so that we, as a state, can withhold monies that would be used to relocate refugees. And that's just part of the problem and part of the answer, I should say. But at least that's a step in the right direction.
Well, I was reading what was put into a Missouri First home on the home page there, and it says the anti-commandeering doctrine is the best tool of the fight federal refugee settlement programs. And within this document, within this article, you mentioned whoever wrote this. I think it was Ron Calzone who wrote this, but it is mentioned in there about the state sovereignty, about Prince versus the USA. And the Supreme Court decision over that. And I happen to have the little booklets that tell all about that particular Supreme Court decision that was Sheriff Mack and Sheriff Prince that sued the federal government during the Clinton era. And I happen to have the booklets that explain that particular case. And they did claim we have state sovereignty, that they can't force the states to do things.
Yes, I believe it was stated something like they can't force states to use their resources to enforce a government mandate. And I believe that, too. In fact, here in Missouri, not last session, but 2014, a friend of mine, Tim Remley, filed a bill. I don't remember the number right offhand, but it was in opposition to the EPA regulation on wood-burning stoves. And you probably know that a lot of folks, not just in Missouri, but across America, use wood to heat their homes, and I do as well. And so what this particular the EPA mandate would have done is limit wood-burning stoves to those that don't emit any smoke out of the smokestack. Now that's laughable. And so what it did was any stove manufacturer, wood stove manufacturer, from X date would not be allowed to manufacture a stove that, in effect, emitted smoke from the stack. And so Missouri said, we're just not going to abide by that regulation. And so a bill was passed. The governor even signed it, which really surprised me, but he did. And that told me there that Missouri at least had its head on straight that day, and we can oppose federal mandates that are not good for Missourians. And if you'll allow me to, that led to an idea that I had.
Okay, let's do it.
We have hundreds, if not thousands, of federal regulations that are imposed upon not just Missouri, but all across the country. Coal, for example, clean air, clean water, you name it, they're there. Farming regulations and all sorts of things. And many of these perhaps are good for the state, but many more are not good. And so I thought, well, what would happen if Missouri exercised our state sovereignty just like we did with that wood-burning bill, and to say that the General Assembly must approve any federal regulation, otherwise it's prohibited from being enforced within the state. And so I drafted a bill. It's about a paragraph long. Last year it was House Bill number 215, and this year I plan to revise it a little bit to make it even more strong and refile it. But this bill didn't even get a hearing. And why that is, I have my suspicions, but I believe, Beth, that if we would enact our state sovereignty and exercise it to its fullest, we could save Missouri businesses and Missouri citizens a lot of grief from the federal government just by saying, no, we're not going to abide by your silliness. And if we did it, just think of how many other states might hop on board and say, yeah, look what Missouri did. Let's follow their lead.
Absolutely. The show me state.
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
Absolutely. Well, it is all about the money. I mean, we want to protect the citizens of Missouri and the citizens of the United States. But when you get down to it, they're going to hold us hostage, the federal government, meaning I call them D.C. occupiers, Mike. I don't know how much you get to listen to the show, but I call them D.C. occupiers, occupying offices and cutting deals. And those deals don't really have to do with you and me, the safety of us, or the economy here. They take care of themselves when they're career politicians. But
yeah,
it is about the money, because we give money to them, and then they have the purse strings, so to speak, and it is literally, so to speak. And they take advantage of that. So we give money to them, and then we have to, with their rules and regulations, we have to submit to certain regulations and rules, or they're not going to give us a pittance of our money back. And there's something wrong with that picture. Now, I understand we have to have taxes and we have to pay things to keep up the roads and blah, blah, blah. But we give so much to D.C., whether it's the state of Missouri or Nebraska, Illinois, South Dakota, whoever's listening out there, and we give money to them as states. And then they turn around and give us a little bit back for education, for the roads, for other things. And it just seems to be all out of kilter with, as far as, of course, I'm very simple-minded. I think it's way out of balance. But the refugee situation, they're going to try and force that on it. And now we're talking about a safety issue of our children, our grandchildren, our neighborhoods, our schools. And I think most Americans want to help those who are down and out. But right now, we see this as a Trojan horse.
Yes. I believe you're right, and I think that we have Missouri, or not Missouri, but the entire United States is known as compassionate. But this is a time that we need to put on some different glasses and look at this through a different lens and determine what is the proper role of government here. And I believe that first and foremost, that the federal government and even state governments is there to protect the citizens. And when you have, was it the FBI director, I believe his name, Mr. Comey, mentioned that they cannot properly vet these refugees that the president's wanting to bring to the country, and perhaps some of them would even end up in Missouri. I believe that this is a quote. He said, "We can only query against that which we've collected," and that means the information. He said, "So if someone has never made a ripple in a pond in Syria in a way that would either get their identity or their interests reflected in our database, we can only query our database until the cow, or we can query our database until the cows come home."
Okay. We're going to have to.
Nothing.
We're going to have to wait for those cows to come home because we're going to a commercial. Your calls are welcome today. Your calls are welcome today at 877-895-5410. And Mike and Beth Ann will be right back.
Are you a David? There are wolves, sheep, and sheepdog, and then there are shepherds. Just as young King David faced the impossible battle with the feared giant Goliath, we face giants today as well. Do we run or do we stand our ground? Our federal government is the epitome of corruption. Abuse of power and deceit have enslaved we the people. Property rights are non-existent. Gun owners are treated as terrorists. Citizens are plundered and reaped of rights and liberties. Is there a solution? Yes, you are the solution. You, the patriotic, the local peace officer, you, the elected official, the county sheriff. You must stand with faith, humility, and the strength of a warrior, as young David did. You are the solution. Order the book, Are You a David by Sheriff Mack. Go to csctalkradio.com or send $15 to P.O. Box 73, California, Missouri 65018. Be a shepherd in your community. csctalkradio.com.
BioAg, working with nature naturally. Murray Bast has been my guest several times here on CSC Talk Radio. You know now he's devoted to helping farmers and ranchers. Murray is my common sense voice for improved agriculture. Farmers and ranchers are vital to any nation. Our food and how it's grown is more than just planting a seed, slopping the hogs, or feeding the cows. There's a science to it, and it takes a special kind of people. Since 1982, their mission has been to produce and supply products and services that warrant and support true sustainable agriculture. BioAg is a major supplier of natural products and services for livestock and crop production. Become a BioAg distributor. BioAg consultants and distributors are devoted. BioAg.com has all the products you need to improve your bottom line as well as improve your products and health. Visit bio-ag.com or call them at 1-800-363-5278. That's 1-800-363-5278. Gold and silver have been the foundation of wealth for individuals and nations the world over. The history of man is packed with coins, jewelry, and artifacts that have spoken to the intrinsic value esteemed in gold and silver due to their rarity, durability, and usefulness. I'm proud to call Melody Cedarstrom a friend and honored Discount Gold and Silver Trading is a loyal sponsor of CSC Talk Radio, a Christian company founded on the principles of truth and honesty. Melody provides quality products, quality service, and competitive pricing. Let Melody's over 20 years of experience in gold and silver trading be your investment guide. From precious metals purchases to precious metals IRA. Whether you want to buy or sell, Melody and her team at Discount Gold and Silver will assist you and make sure you get the best deals possible. Call Melody and tell her thank you for sponsoring CSC Talk Radio, and then let her know you want her to be your gold and silver dealer. Visit Melody online at dgscoins.com or just give her a call at 1-800-375-4188. That's 1-800-375-4188. Have returned. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. I'm visiting today with Mike Moon from Missouri, and we're discussing the refugee situation and state sovereignty. And like I said, within the article that I read there from Missouri First, I saw that you were that they were vetting. They were putting it vetting. What a word! They were putting it into the context of what the Supreme Court decision with Prince versus USA, which my listeners know as Mack and Prince versus USA, because Sheriff Richard Mack was in on that with that particular lawsuit against the United States during the Clinton era. So I have these little booklets that explain this particular decision from the Supreme Court, and they're just $2.50. So I'm going to put a little plug out there, Mike, since I saw that, because it's been a while since I've plugged it, and I have a few of them yet on the shelf. Now, what we were saying when we were going in, we were talking about when the cows came home. They really don't have any way of vetting these refugees. And we do have a call holding, and if Jeff would just be patient with me, we'll get to you in just a moment. But we have no way of truly vetting that. We're hearing that from all the organizations that actually do that, like the FBI. And we know that the states don't have such a way to do that if the federal government doesn't have a way, because it's just not available with these refugees coming in. And like we said, the American people are very compassionate. But right now, we're in a war that's not declared a war, that the current administration will not even recognize. And we know that they are infiltrating. It's not just that we're letting the refugees is not about just helping those who are trying to escape persecution and murder and to be killed. But it's also, it's a Trojan horse because they have been infiltrated. We are now being invaded. You know, we've talked a lot about illegal immigration and the illegal immigrants that are coming across the borders. And I've had a retired INS special agent, Mike Cutler, on several times, and we'll have him on again. And of course, he tells us, well, this is going to be terrible, and with the refugees, but the illegal immigration, but also the legal immigration, because we're just allowing so many to come in, and then we're not keeping track of them. Now, I wanted to mention to you, Mike, that over the weekend, President Barack Obama says that the states can't do this. They have to do what he tells them to do. And so it's kind of taken away the sovereignty in that. And that is something, you know, he says they can't break federal law. But he's not going after these cities that are doing the sanctuary, the sanctuary cities. That is also a federal law, against federal law. But he's not going after them, but he's going to go after the states that refuse the refugees. So we kind of have it's a little bit of hypocrisy there, if you want to say a little, that's going on. And I was going to have you address that. And if Jeff will be patient, we'll get to you in just a moment, Jeff.
Well, when you talk about supremacy, I believe that there are those who say that the supremacy clause of Article 6 gives the Fed the upper hand. But it seems like most everyone I talk to says that, especially elected officials. But the fact is, the supremacy clause does not declare that all laws passed by the federal government are the supreme law of the land. If you look closer, it declares that the laws of the United States made in pursuance of the Constitution are the supreme law of the land. And so as we look at what is being done by the president, first of all, we talked about one of the proper roles of government is to protect its citizens.
Yes.
And so if you knowingly bring those who are associated with terrorists, and knowing that, I believe his name is James Comey, the FBI director, who said before the break, as I was mentioning, that we cannot fully vet these folks, then I believe that is a violation of the proper function of government. And so this is not covered by the supremacy clause. This is something that is a usurpation of power, and we should not allow this to happen. I think there are 31 or so other governors in the United States who have said that they're not going to allow refugees. I believe that if we stand together, of course, our governor of Missouri is not going to, but if we, as other governors of other states, stand together, what can the federal government do about it? They don't have the resources to enforce this upon us. So I hope that the General Assembly of Missouri will take affirmative action to say that not only are we going to withhold resources, but we're going to make it a penalty, a violation of our state law for any official in the state who tries to go against the will of the state. And so it's going to take some time, but I believe that there is a state sovereignty issue at stake here, and we need to stand on that.
Well, and something I wanted to say, too, is that they're holding the federal government. What they're planning on doing is holding the states hostage with the monies that come from them. Am I correct on that? That's what they're saying is you can't do this, or we're not going to give you money for, say, Medicaid or whatever the issue is.
And Beth, therein lies a really difficult problem because when I mentioned House Bill 215 that I filed last year, it's essentially an anti-commandeering bill that would cover any federal regulation. The first comment I get from other legislators is, but this is going to take away federal money. And I can't believe it, because when are we going to stop using that as an excuse to do what's right for our citizens? At some point in time, we've got to say, okay, if it's going to cost us money, let it cost us money, but we're going to do what's right and stand on that principle. It's unfortunate, but you're right. It's going to cost us money, but we've got to do that at some point in time.
Well, that is a big problem. It's a big problem in every area of what we do in the state. Let's just take publication. Let's take education for one thing. The public school system. So the public school system gets federal money for different things, whether it's a grant, whether, whatever it might be. But with those monies, or your county sheriffs, or your county in other ways, when you get that money, it comes with strings attached. You have to follow their rules, or it gets taken away. Now, the irony of this is they have no money to give unless the states give it to them.
That's right.
It has to come from us first. And it's been a little while since I've given this little government 101, the establishment of the United States 101. God created man, so God is number one. Man is number two. Man created the state. That's number three. The states created the federal government. And that's the way it should be. God first, federal government last. And what you were saying earlier, the proper role of the federal government, they have like 3 or 4 things. That's all they're really supposed to be doing. They're not supposed to be taking care of your health care, which is another story altogether that isn't true.
That's right.
That's not their obligation. That's not what they're there for. One thing they are there for, one of the main things, as you said earlier, is to protect the borders, to keep the citizens of the United States safe. And they are slackers when it comes to that. We have seen that, and we continue to see that. In fact, we're having battles over the candidacies where they're running for president of the United States coming up this next election. And, when you look at and you listen to the Democrat side, the enemy is the people. The enemy is the Republican Party. The enemy is climate change. They won't do anything to protect the people. And that's something that bothers me, is that we constantly hear about parties and we very seldom hear about we the people. And I think we have a big issue with that. I have a big issue with that, and I think we have a huge problem. And now here we are with the federal government wanting to allow, particularly the administration, wanting to allow all these refugees coming in here, which is impossible to vet them. And it is going to be, I believe it's going to be astronomical. It's a Trojan horse. Even if it's only 1 or 2% of them coming in here that are the bad guys, it's going to be bad. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. And people are taking me to task on my mention of the word Islamization.
Oh, my.
And what that means. And since then, I still stand by it. I found a quote from a lady. She's a former Muslim, and she lived in Saudi Arabia when she was a young girl and through at least part of her adulthood. I may not be pronouncing her name correctly, but I'll say it like this: Ayan Hirsi Ali. And she said that as she was growing up, she found that Saudi Arabians were enforcing 7th century rules, and that is in essence Sharia law. And of course, we all know what they think of women, and even women and dogs are in the same category.
Oh,
and
yes.
That's abhorrent, really.
And the Democrat Party is claiming that the Republican Party has a war against the women, and they are the ones that are really the war against the women. We're going into commercial break. The number to call, and I have callers holding, and we're going to get to you when we come back, 877-895-5410. And Beth and Mike will be right back.
world needs accessories. So does a website these days. It's not enough to have just one accessory either. CSC Talk Radio is excited to announce we have an app for that. You can now listen to CSC Talk Radio easily on your smartphones, Android or iPhone. We have an app for that. Share this app-portant news with your friends and family. They can now join in the common sense. Calling all patriots. We have an app for that. Visit csctalkradio.com and download the app. Listen to live streaming or the show's podcast designed for Triple L. Listening later leisurely. Accessories are necessary. Join CSC Talk Radio on your phone. We've accessorized. Visit csctalkradio.com and download the app. Working with technology to bring America home. We have an app for that. csctalkradio.com. csctalkradio.com. Hear ye, hear ye. The Pen is here. News hot off the presses. The Pen is the bi-monthly newsletter for CSC Talk Radio. Beth Ann and friends have packed it with information you won't read in the paper from the corner newsstand. News, opinions, and insights, all packed into this economical read. Just $24.95 will buy you 6 issues yearly. Common sense is what we speak, and it's also what we write. The Pen is a compilation of many writers we know you're going to enjoy. The news these days isn't easy to digest, but it is necessary to keep informed, and that is what we at CSC Talk Radio strive to do, serving listeners in every way. Order your subscription today. Send $24.95 to CSC Talk Radio, P.O. Box 73, California, Missouri, 65018. Keep informed. Send $24.95 to P.O. Box 73, California, Missouri, 65018, and request your subscription to the Pen today.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventors information, call 1-800-351-9820. That's 1-800-351-9820. Again, 1-800-351-9820.
Lexus de Tocqueville once stated, America is great because she is good. If America ceases to be good, America will cease to be great. To know where we are going, we must remember from whence we came. Looking back in our American history, we can see the hand of God. He wrought many miracles in our nation and brought us through much to be a nation under Him, a nation under God. We've forgotten from whence we came. America has lost her greatness. America ceases to be good because we've forgotten our God, who is all that is good. Sue and Bill Federer have compiled 32 truths, which in our history show the hand of God, His answered prayers, His miracles, and His mercy on our nation. For only $22, Miracles in American History will encourage and uplift you. Order Miracles in American History. Send $22 to CSC Talk Radio, Post Office Box 73, California, Missouri 65018, or order online at csctalkradio.com. And we have returned. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. We're going to start going to the phone lines here. Mike, we've got Jeff from Texas. Jeff, what's on your mind today?
I wanted to talk about the refugee scam.
All right.
Okay,
Quickly.
The scam has been going on for almost 7 years with Obama and Hillary. The State Department recruits all over Africa and the Muslim nations. Anyone can sign up for refugee status. They have been bringing in almost 5 to 6 million refugees in the last 7 years. All of them are paid $58,000 for 8 months. They get free condos, free health care, free flights that the State Department brings them over in.
Okay, do you have proof of that, Jeff?
Numbers.
Jeff, do you have proof of that? That's a lot of money. Okay. Do you want to address that, Mike? Do you know anything about that?
You know, I know that there have been refugees being brought to the country for a long time. I didn't know that they were getting that much money. I wonder if that could be where, you know, a Muslim can have 4 wives or so, and they claim them as relatives, and so each of them would be getting stipends
Certainly.
as well. Is that, Jeff, is that part of that $58,000, do you think?
Once they get here and are established in condos built for them, like the Somalis in Minnesota have condos for 20,000 Somalis that will not integrate with America. They can bring all their family members over for $58,000 per person.
Per person. Okay. All right.
Wow.
We're going to have to check that one out, Mike. Right. Appreciate the call, Jeff. Thanks for letting us know about that. We have Therese from Pennsylvania. Therese, how are you today?
Oh, I'm okay, but country's in bad shape.
Yes,
okay?
it is.
Just a reminder, okay, is that when we were set up as a confederated republic, we're not a democratic republic.
That's right.
It was the responsibility of the federal government to protect the borders so that there would be no incursions into the states or the Commonwealth. It was the responsibility of the state legislatures or the Commonwealth legislatures and their governors to protect the people within them, okay, those political subdivisions. So what has taken place with various governors and legislatures initiating these procedures to not accept these people is right in line. And I would remind most people about a little thing called Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
There are 200,000 people from Louisiana and the Gulf Coast that are still displaced, and the government doesn't know where they are, and they don't care where they are. So keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. Now, I live in Tioga County, which is north-central Pennsylvania. There's a little village down below me here called Sabinville. There's about 100 people who live in that village. Now, the chancellor of Germany there, the Soviet fascist Merkel, okay, they had one little village over there in Germany, had 106 people total population, and they were mandated to accept 750 of these so-called refugees. Now, what do you think is going to happen to that little village? They won't even be a dot on the map after it's all over.
Interesting.
And I would say that to the people here in Sabinville, Pennsylvania, in Tioga County. What do you think of that? And they say, well, it can't happen here because we're a rural community. I got news for you. Rural communities are the easiest targets.
Yes.
I mean, we have supervisors here in our township. We call them stupid visors. Okay, their big thrill is buying a new truck. Okay, they are not paying attention to what's going on.
Well, I think most Americans aren't paying attention. They're starting to wake up. I do see that, Therese. I do see that they're starting to wake up.
Well, we would hope that they get that wake-up call a little sooner than later.
Well, like I said, we need to throw them a warm washcloth. They still got some sleepers in their eyes. Thank you. I appreciate
Have a
the
good
call.
day.
We're going to go to another caller. We have Kay from Nebraska. Kay, how are you today?
I'm fine, and I think we need to turn back to our heavenly birthright.
Okay.
Which is the laws of nature, which is the Declaration of Independence.
Okay.
And it says the laws of nature were widely understood as the will of God revealed in nature. And in 1763, in his commentaries on the laws of England, Sir William Blackstone, the preeminent English leader scholar of his day, traced this law of nature to the Genesis account of the origin of the world and mankind, saying that when the Supreme Being formed the universe and created matter out of nothing, he impressed certain principles upon that matter from which it can never depart, and without which it would cease to be. And this law of nature is confirmed by the Holy Scriptures in such passages as Psalm 19 and Romans 1. Indeed, before God wrote the 10 Commandments and before the 5 books of Moses had been written, Moses judged the peoples, making known the statutes of God and his laws. Exodus 18:16. And some mistakenly assume that this unwritten law is the natural law, and they mistake many things. And the law of nature is a law of harmony. Even in music, we have harmony.
That's right.
And we don't even know what our identity is now, because those that have gotten into Washington, D.C. there have tried to take over our states and take our identity away. And we need to stand for our own identity and quit sending them the money that takes our identity away from them.
I agree with that. Thank you, Kay. I appreciate that.
Yes.
I appreciate that very much. Mike, you want to address what she had to say?
Well, I want to go back to what Trace had to say, because when he was talking about these small communities where these immigrants are being placed, that reminded me of something when you look at the history of Islam and Muhammad. He was really a smart fella when you come down to it. And I'm not wanting to give him any kudos that is not necessary, but here's what he did. First, he immigrated into an area, into Medina,
yes,
into Mecca, and those places that were predominantly Jews. In fact, I think they were all Jews before he came there. And then he increased his following. And once they did, they started, first when he immigrated, he was a religious leader. When they increased, he became a political leader because he had a lot of following, and then they could institute their ways, their laws, if you want to call them laws, into the society. And then they eliminated the current culture. So he became a military leader as well. And I think that's what we need to remember. What Trey said, I think, is spot on, because when our government is forcing these immigrants to be relocated in our states and in our small towns, then the immigration part is fulfilled, and then they increase in numbers, but because they're having an average of between 5 and 8 children per couple. In America, U.S. citizens are having about still 1.8. So they're overpopulating in our areas. So they're increasing, and just like what's happening in Dearborn, Michigan, and Hamtramck, Michigan, they're now eliminating the current culture. So, folks, it's happening, and we need to be aware.
And Mike, it isn't new. It's not a new thing that's happening. It's been happening. It's been going on, and it's history. I had Bill Federer on Thanksgiving Day, and we went through the history of the Pilgrims, and we went through the history of Islam, and it's radical Islam. It has been here for a very long time, and Kay is she's spot on. We just really need to be we need to realize who we are. And we need to know who we are. And we've lost that in America. And we can see that, we're calling Bruce Jenner a female because he says he's a female. And, we're just totally confused. And we need to really get back to the basics and back, if science counts, then biology counts too. We've got Pat from Texas. Real quickly, Pat.
You probably need to have Dave on your show to tell you how denominational religion meant denomination back when they wrote the Constitution. It did not mean devil worshippers or false god worshippers or anything.
That's right.
The Constitution will only work with a Christian nation.
That's absolutely right.
Unfortunately, Christians now are saying we got to obey the laws. So these people come over here and they take over the laws.
Yeah, you got that right. We're heading into a break, Pat, and your phone is cutting out, so I'm going to let you go. I appreciate the call. We're heading into a break. The lines are open at 877-895-5410, and Mike and Beth Ann will be right back.
What every American needs to know about the Quran, a history of Islam and the United States. Bill Federer has done it again. He makes history come to life, and current events all connect that to history. Sultans conquered the 1,000-year-old Byzantine city of Constantinople. Jefferson sent Marines to stop the Muslim Barbary pirates of Algiers and Tripoli. Woodrow Wilson tried saving millions of Americans killed in Turkey. History that affects you and me today. In 2006, Keith Ellison was the first Muslim Elected to the U.S. Congress, he swore on a Quran. What does this mean? Educate and activate. We shouldn't form opinion or initiate actions before we know the truth. Purchase your copy of What Every American Needs to Know About the Quran today. Send $22 to CSC Talk Radio, P.O. Box 73, California, Missouri 65018, or order on the website at csctalkradio.com. That's $22 for the history of Islam and the United States.
CSC Talk Radio's goal is to bring America home. That includes you and your business. Radio is a powerful way to brand your company and increase your profits. Find out how to join CSC Talk Radio, help educate and activate America, and grow your business at the same time. Looking for new customers? Looking to have your business reaching out from sea to shining sea? Advertise with CSC Talk Radio. Believe in your product? Let Beth Ann be your personal spokesperson to properly brand your product and company. It's simple, easy, and affordable. Grow your business, grow common sense, and together we will bring America home. To be a part of CSC Talk Radio, call 573-796-2166. That's 573-796-2166. Or send email to beth@csctalkradio.com.
Hamby Dairy Supply has gone above and beyond the call of duty for all their dairy customers. Many of you men call Hamby Dairy Supply to inquire about certain products. When all is explained, you men make the wisest of all statements. I need to ask my wife. Well, Hamby Dairy Supply female employees are wise and can help you make those decisions that just might keep you out of trouble and perhaps even make you the hero of the day. Let Hamby Dairy Supply ladies assist you in making those hard-to-decide dairy supply decisions. And women, Hamby Dairy Supply can help you too. If you need male second opinion, let the Hamby Dairy Supply men assist you. Call them now at 1-800-306-8937 or shop online at HambyDairySupply.com and let the Hamby Dairy Supply staff of wives and husbands help meet all your dairy supply needs. That's 1-800-306-8937. Hamby Dairy Supply for all your dairy supply needs.
Did you know that whether you're making a phone call, texting a friend, or checking email, you can be making a difference for CSC Talk Radio? That's right. When you sign up for wireless service from our friends at Affinity 4, not only do you receive affordable rate plans with nationwide coverage on one of America's largest wireless networks, you'll also be supporting CSC Talk Radio through Affinity 4's Give Back program. Affinity 4 Wireless offers a variety of phones from leading manufacturers, and you can choose from individual and shared plans to meet your needs. And you can keep your same phone number. Call 1-800-311-2021 today and let the Affinity 4 customer service team help you select the best plan and phone for your needs. And remember, when you sign up for any of Affinity 4's products and services, a portion of the proceeds will be donated back to CSC Talk Radio. Don't wait. Call today, 1-800-311-2021, and ask about their current wireless promotions, including a free month of service and free phone offers. That's 1-800-311-2021.
And we have returned. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. I'm visiting today with Mike Moon. We've been talking about the refugees and state sovereignty and what the states can do to fight that. You know, Mike, you made a comment about how some people say, well, we'd have to give up money. You know, that would cost us federal money. And the word independence kind of pops up into my head. You know, we had some founding fathers that fought a war to be independent. Sovereign as individuals, sovereign as states, and sovereign as a nation. And if we are constantly having to get help, you know, first we had to pay them, and then they'll give us a little bit back from D.C., from the federal government, then we've got everything completely upside down. And it may not be King of England, but it is king government in D.C., and it seems like, you know, we were talking about the rules and the regulations and the mandates that come down, and they're putting burdens upon businesses, upon individuals, upon the states, upon the counties. I mean, it's just non-stop. And here we are fighting a war that they will not say it's a war. And our leadership thinks that the weather is what we ought to be talking about. Well, I saw it flying around on Twitter this morning, and it was the actor James Wood. I get a big kick out of his tweets, and he was saying, of course they're going to talk about the weather. They can't talk about this. That's uncomfortable. We're going to talk about the weather. Oh, by the way, how's the weather? And so I think the word independence. We need to step back and look at what's really taking place. And I'm proud of you for what you're trying to do here in the state of Missouri.
Well, you're standing in a small group, but I appreciate the pat on the back.
I'm in that small group,
A friend of mine from Cassville told me one time when people start resorting to calling you names, that just stand there and raise your hand, smile, and say, "I win." And he's right, because what happens when the left has no argument is they start resorting to name calling, and that's already happening. And I believe we are right, and I believe that protecting our citizens is of the utmost importance. And I hope it's not too late when people realize, you know what, that was what we needed to do. We have the infiltration of terrorists, and I dare say we have them even here in Missouri. They just haven't popped their heads up yet, perhaps. But there have been, there have been reports where people have been taken, or incarcerated, I should say. Even in the United States, I read something recently that about 82 individuals in the United States affiliated with ISIS have been arrested by law enforcement since March 2014. And that's just a small number. There are probably thousands of people who are related to ISIS or have some intent on doing harm to our citizens that we don't yet know about. And that's part of their plan. See, I mentioned immigrate, increase, and eliminate. They're still immigrating, and they're increasing in great numbers. I hope we don't wait too late before we take action. And before they begin to eliminate our cultures. They're already doing it in Dearborn. You can look at their information and find the Muslim communities following Islam. Mm-hmm. I want to say one thing too about back to this lady. Her last name is Ali. She said that something that you alluded to, Beth, that the U.S. is not in a war with Islam, but she mentioned that Islam is in a war against us. That is for certain. She went on to say something else that I take a little bit of disagreement to. She said that there are peace-loving Muslims, and they want to get along with us. Well, I go back to Muhammad's plan: integrate, increase, and eliminate. You see, their plan is to be peace-loving initially, but they have no intent to assimilate to American culture, because I saw an interview several weeks ago where a street interviewer was going around asking some folks about the Quran and the Constitution, which is supreme. Every single Muslim said Quran. And so if you believe that the Quran supersedes the Constitution, there's no way in the world that you're going to be following our laws. And we have some that follow that religion in Congress, yes, and have even taken their oath on the Quran, which I believe is incorrect. I don't believe they should be doing that. We have one more caller, if you don't mind. We're going to go to Warren from Missouri. Warren, how are you today?
Yeah, hi. I was wondering, I called about this a week or two ago, but how many people in this state, in fact, I've heard there's thousands of people that have called a governor. And what is, I guess I can say the assembly, the House of Representatives in this state, couldn't we get a recall on the governor? What do you have to do that? Let's get rid of the governor.
Well, I think that's going to be more difficult, and we've only got a short time left with him anyway. So I think we're going to have to fight it a different direction, Warren. I understand your feelings. So go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was just going to say, to my knowledge, and prove me wrong if I am, I don't believe we have a recall petition for elected officials in Missouri. My friend Jeff Pogue from the Salem area filed a bill that would allow a recall, but again, that was not given a hearing. And I believe that's something that we need.
Well, there's not time enough to get it done. I know. but what alternative do we have? You know,
well,
I think probably we just have to live with this idiot.
Well, the one thing I think is important is that we need to get out and vote in 2016 and elect a governor who holds dear the Constitution and the Missouri Constitution, the U.S. and Missouri, and will not be swayed by the bureaucrats and the left. And we have an opportunity to do that. So I hope that you and others will do the same.
Well, yeah, I'll go and vote. But the problem is, right now, what Republican do we have that could beat him?
He won't run again. His terms are over. Governor Nixon won't be running again. His term will be over. So he's not running again.
He's not?
No. He's already been in twice.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. And I kind of goofed up there.
That's okay. We're just about out of time, Warren. Thank you for your call. We should have put him out the last time. We didn't do it. Mike, there's one thing we can do, and that's be active and be aware in our communities and in our states. And that's what I tell. We're about out of time, so I'm winding it up here, Mike. And we're going to have you back and talk about this. I want to know the progression of what we get done here and how we can help and give phone numbers out. But it's up to the American people. We call ourselves a constitutional republic. The republic means the people run. The people run the show. We're supposed to be the government. But when we sit back and do nothing, that's what happens. We see tyranny. We see these rules. We see these regulations. We see these things taking place. And what I say every day, it's going to take every single one of us. Mike, you may think you're in a minority, but I'm right there with you, my friend. And it's going to take you. It's going to take you and me to bring America home.
Dr. Michael Kaufman isn't holding back, but speaking the truth. Truth is tough, and we have a lot to learn here. Radical Islam is not knocking on our door, but is in the house, and a very real threat to America. What is Islam, and what is the true belief of those? Are they all radicals? Is there a soft side to Islam? Dr. Kaufman's book is a quick study and will reveal much to you, helping all of us understand the threat of Islam to our United States of America and our American way of life. We are/were a Christian nation. Why are our leaders denying this? Is there a plan to take America for the global Islamic State? Yes. Order now. $13.99 includes shipping and handling. P.O. Box 73, California, Mo. 65018. Or order online at csctalkradio.com. Oh, one more thing. This book is made in the USA. Order your copy today of Radical Islam in the House. Only $13.99.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. Really? They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-473-7921. 800-473-7921.
Attention Americans with no health insurance. If you did not enroll under Obamacare, the deadline has passed, and you could be liable for a tax penalty. There are affordable options available, but you need to act now. Call 800-212-4972. Health Markets Insurance Agency has thousands of options nationwide and can help you get the government subsidies you deserve to help lower the cost of health insurance. Under the law, if you have special qualifying events such as marriage, loss of job, or moving, you may still be entitled to Obamacare coverage. At Health Markets, our service is free, and we do the work to help you find the right coverage at a price that fits your budget. Call 800-212-4972 now. That's 800-212-4972. Health Markets Insurance Agency is the DBA or assumed name of Inspire Insurance Solutions Incorporated, which is licensed as an insurance agency in all 50 states and D.C. Service and product availability may vary. Agents may be compensated based on your enrollment in a health plan. HMIA 000365.
You're listening to Rebooting Liberty Radio Network. Compelling and entertaining talk.
Don't touch that dial.